In our last entry, Jin Runcandel managed to survive his father's scrutiny and began unearthing the lost secrets hidden beneath the Storm Castle. If you're just joining us and want to see how Jin secured the favor of the Runcandel Patriarch, you can catch up on the previous part using the card above. The energy was identified immediately. Chiron Runcandel confirmed the dark matter was not a mutation, but the authority of Solderet, the god of shadows. This force had been absent from the clan since the era of the founder, Chiron Runcandel. The Patriarch deduced that the D was attempting to re-establish contact with the family through the youngest child. Jin seized the moment to gauge the Patriarch's ego against his logic. He asked if the god of shadows possessed strength greater than Chiron himself. The question halted the Patriarch. For the first time, the strongest swordsman admitted a lack of data, having never engaged a deity in combat. The audacity of the inquiry pleased him. The interrogation shifted to motive. Chiron demanded to know how Jin intended to wield this rediscovered authority. Jin initially claimed he would use the power for the sake of the family. Chiron instantly rejected the statement as a falsehood. He cited the recent brutality Jin had inflicted upon his older brothers, noting that such violence did not align with selfless servitude. He demanded the truth. Jin corrected his statement, declaring he would use the power for himself. This answer satisfied the Patriarch. In the logic of Runcandel, personal ambition was a trustworthy constant. Chiron granted his approval and declared he would monitor Jin's progression, officially acknowledging him as his son. The immediate crisis of survival concluded, but the accumulation of resources began. A delivery arrived from Mary Runcandel, the seventh standard bearer known as the Wind Fury. The package contained a phoenix heart, a legendary consumable. While the sender's intent was simply to accelerate Jin's growth for future combat, Jin recognized the item's dual utility. It was not merely an elixir for fire resistance and physical development. It was a catalyst required for a 6-star mage to summon a phoenix. Jin utilized the prepared elixir as leverage. He gathered his twin brothers, who had been subdued by his previous display of force, and offered them the soup prepared with the heart. In exchange for the meal, he commanded them to perform manual labor. The hierarchy had been inverted. The older siblings were now tools for the youngest. Under the cover of night, the twins excavated a specific location within the estate grounds. Unaware of the objective, they reached a subterranean chamber sealed beneath the earth. Inside, a preservation capsule held a dormant figure. Jin had used his knowledge of the future and the labor of his rivals to unearth the next critical asset. A figure steeped in shadow, waiting to be awakened. The labor contract between the siblings concluded with a demonstration of malicious compliance. The twins, exhausted from the excavation, demanded their sustenance. Jin Runcandel honored the letter of the agreement while mocking its spirit. He provided the promised soup, yet restricted the consumption method to teaspoons. The hierarchy was reaffirmed. The older siblings were reduced to impotent rage, forced to accept the pittance, while the youngest successfully exploited their labor to clear the path to the underground sector. With the excavation site prepared, Jin approached the sealed entry under the cover of rain. The barrier required magical intervention. Utilizing 1-star magic, he discharged his accumulated mana, shattering the physical blockage. This granted him access to the Runcandel Secret Storage, a repository of knowledge from fallen clans historically restricted to confirmed Flagbearers. Leveraging intelligence from his previous timeline, Jin recited the specific verbal key required to bypass the security. Runcandel's child is here to console Murekan. The security mechanisms recognize the clearance code, allowing an unauthorized candidate to infiltrate the clan's deepest archive. Inside the vault, Jin discovered the physical validation of a family myth. A stasis capsule held Murekan, the Black Dragon, suspended in a dormant state. Historically, this entity was defeated by the first Patriarch and sealed away. In his previous life, Jin had never possessed the qualifications to enter this space. Now, he bypassed the sleeping entity to prioritize immediate gain. He located tomes from the Kunin family, a lineage of swordmasters notorious for their complex magical theories. Unable to remove the artifacts without triggering inventory alarms, Jin began a disciplined routine of manual transcription, visiting the vault repeatedly to copy the 3-star magic theories by hand. This routine was interrupted when the dormant variable became active. Murekan awoke, a significant deviation from the historical record of Jin's past life. Attempting to mitigate the threat, Jin addressed the entity as the family's guardian. This proved to be a diplomatic error. The dragon rejected the subservient title with hostility, unleashing a wave of pressure and manifesting a terrifying aura. Murekan viewed the title of guardian as an insult taught by the Runcandel clan. The aggression ceased only when Murekan detected a specific signature, shadow energy. He identified the scent of the god Solderet. Jin confirmed the suspicion by manifesting the shadow force in his palm. The dynamic shifted instantly. The dragon, previously arrogant, recognized the authority of the god Solderet within the boy. The terrifying beast was suddenly cowed by the presence of his god's power in a mere child. Bound by a 1,000-year-old oath, Murekan transformed, revealing his true draconic scale. He declared himself Solderet's representative and friend. According to the ancient pact, he pledged his allegiance not to the Runcandel clan as a whole, but specifically to the contractor of Solderet. Jin accepted the servitude of the legendary beast, identifying himself as Jin Runcandel, the 13th son. The outcast had successfully secured a catastrophic asset that would shift the balance of power within the family. The official history of the Runcandel clan recorded a decisive victory by the founder, Timur, over the Black Dragon Murikan 1,000 years ago. Archives stated the beast fell into an eternal slumber following the destruction of the Storm Castle. However, the reality within the castle's secret library now contradicted the text. The dragon was away, in human form, and consuming confectionery provided by the youngest son. Jin Runcandel approached this interaction with transactional intent. While the dragon struggled to recall the specific motivations behind his ancient duel with Timur, Jin transcribed every fragmented memory into a journal. Information from the era of the founder was a strategic resource unavailable to the rest of the clan. Murakan assessed his new contractor. He acknowledged that while Jin possessed the same contract as Timur, his current physical capabilities were inferior. However, the dragon revealed a critical theological fact regarding their patron god. Solderet was known as the Infinite. Consequently, the potential of his contractor was theoretically without a ceiling. The instruction phase commenced immediately. Murakan introduced a technique designated as shadow energy liberation. The prerequisite for this ability was the manual manipulation of Manhwa. Based on standard biological development, the dragon projected a training period of 2 to 3 years to achieve this state. This assessment proved incorrect. Jin Runcandel, utilizing the muscle memory and technical knowledge from his previous life, accessed his Manhwa circuit instantly. The anticipated multi-year timeline was compressed into a single second. Murakan was forced to abandon his initial evaluation. The subject was not merely a child with potential, but an anomaly operating outside standard progression curves. Acknowledging the boy's abnormal proficiency, Murakan demonstrated the full scope of the liberation technique. The metaphysical logic was absolute. Solderet was the primordial source of all shadows. Therefore, his contractor held administrative authority over every shadow in the world. The library was instantly engulfed in a demonstration of this omnipotent dominion. Far removed from the castle, the upper echelons of the Runcandel hierarchy remained active. Luna Runcandel, the strongest of the siblings, stood amidst the aftermath of a suppression mission. Having cleared the area of threats, she calculated that her return would require 4 months. However, her primary concern shifted from the battlefield to familial diplomacy. Standing over the carcass of a slain beast, the high-ranking warrior queried her knights regarding the preferences of a 9-year-old boy. The family's most terrifying weapon was preparing to engage with its youngest member. Jin has finally arrived at the Garden of Swords, but the recent ambush proves that his transition to the main estate will be anything but peaceful. In our next video, we'll see how Jin handles the internal politics and the siblings who are already plotting his downfall. Thanks for watching the Academy Manhwa Files. Feel free to subscribe and leave a comment with your theories on who was behind the sabotage.